We're in my 2012 R56 Mini Cooper S and wanted to talk about the 5 things I absolutely love about this car. You know, I have a lot of people asking me why I love these cars so much. A lot of people asking me, you know, what I like about mine because they're thinking about getting one for themselves. And, you know, I'm going to go over today, you know, what I love about my specific one and what I love about Minis basically in general. I would say the first thing I love about this car is the handling. The handling is fantastic, even from factory, with the factory suspension, sway bar, links, all of that. The car handles amazing, especially when you upgrade everything. You know, if you do a good set of coilovers, good upgraded front sway bar, links, rear sway bar, and rear links, this car literally becomes, you know, one of the best cars, like, around turns, one of the best cars at cornering. It's honestly, like, unmatched. These cars are literally small little on-the-street legal go-karts. That's what I like to compare it to. The steering is super tight. Suspension is nice and stiff. Honestly, I think these cars are unmatched when it comes to handling, especially out of the factory. If you want a car that, you know, rides nice and handles amazing and you're not looking to do any kind of modifications to it, I definitely recommend a Mini just because, like I said, the handling from the factory is fantastic. I think second, another thing I love about this car is definitely the exhaust. I know my exhaust is modified. Like I've stated before in other videos, my car is literally just straight piped from the turbo back, 2.5 inch downpipe, all the way 2.5 inches, all the way to the back to 4-inch tips. I love the way this car sounds. Minis sound wicked. One thing I love about these cars is how loud and how much they pop and bang. Even from the factory, depending on what year Mini you get. I know the R53s did it from 02 to 06. They took it out of the stock tune between 07 and 2010, but reintegrated it into the 11s to 13s and beyond with the F-Series. These cars, even without a tune, they pop and bang from the factory. And if you get them tuned, they do it even more. Like I said, these cars sound absolutely amazing. I love the way this car sounds. I have other videos on my channel. If you go to the description, I have my Instagram on there. I have a ton of different exhaust videos for you guys to see what it sounds like. These cars sound, like I said, amazing. Definitely recommend, if you do get one of these cars, to definitely do exhaust upgrades because you won't regret it. I think the third thing I love most about this car, just how light it is. These cars from the factory are anywhere between like 25 and 2,700 pounds, something like that. In mine, as you can see, I don't have any rear seats. I took them out. And I took out the bulky passenger and driver stock seats and I put some Braun racing seats in there. This car's super light. I weighed it at my job. I have some scales on my job. And this car weighed with 3 tool bags in the hatch at the time. Was 2,500 pounds flat. So I would say without each tool bag, I would say there were somewhere between 10 and 15 pounds. This car is easily around, I would say, like 2450, 2460, somewhere around there in weight. These cars are super light, and that helps out to compensate for the car not making, you know, crazy amounts of power. But, you know, when it comes to speed, you know, it has to do with, you know, power to weight. So I think these cars are amazing due to the fact that they're so light even from factory. So, you know, you want to mess around with people on the streets. You know, there's people that come in with cars that weigh, you know, 1,000 pounds more, make a little more power, but, you know, you embarrass them because, you know, your car is so light. And people love using the Minis are so light as an excuse all the time when they see a Mini come up to them and they end up losing in a roll race. So that's always great too. But yeah, these cars are super light, makes them super quick, super fun. The fourth thing I love about this car is just the way it looks. What really drew me to the Mini Cooper originally was just, you know, I thought it was a good looking car. People always told me to like look into them, and I was always into Volkswagen, so I would never really pay any mind to them. And after I got rid of the ones that I had and I was shopping for a car, you know, it really drew me, like how these cars looked. I just love how sporty they look from factory. You know, they come with fog lights, a lot of different accent colors, a lot of, you could get different mirror colors that come from factory, different roof colors, different paint stripes. They basically, they make the Mini to appeal to everyone. People have different tastes, and whether you like one thing or you don't like something else, there's so many different options that you could choose from to make you love your car. And my Mini is black, came with the red mirrors. I love the way that looks. Like I said, these cars I think are just good-looking cars, nice body lines. They're small, so I think that's one thing that I really love about this car is just the available options and different things you could get when you're shopping for one. And these cars, they're super affordable for how many options and how many different things you could get with them. So I think that's super great. The fifth and the last thing that's that I love about this is just Minis in general. Is Minis offer a huge aftermarket. If you're into modifying cars and you want a nice, cheap starter car to begin to modify and have a good background, a bunch of websites, a bunch of parts that you could get. I think Minis are really good with that. You can order Mini parts from literally anywhere, overseas, here in the States, a lot of websites sell stuff for them. There's a ton of forums for, if you have any questions on what to do. Typically, the forums are very helpful. The Mini community, they're not as bad, from my experience, as other communities out there that, they like to bash people and, they like to talk bad about people. People can't even ask simple questions without getting roasted in the comments. So the Mini aftermarket community is huge. There's parts everywhere, from name brand things. I mean, if you're on a tighter budget, even eBay, you can find a lot of parts on eBay, Amazon. The aftermarket is huge for Minis, and I think that's good when it comes to wanting to start to modify a car, because if you're into that whole scene, it's really simple to buy parts. These cars, luckily the parts aren't as expensive as you would think, being that BMW makes these. The parts really aren't as expensive as you would first think. And to get this car sounding right, to get this car driving better, to get this car to be more fun, is really not that much money to spend it in the short run and even in the long run. These cars are pretty cheap in my opinion to build. I haven't spent so much on this car, not as much as you would think, to get this car where it is today. There's a lot more down the line, but I think from what I've spent and my experience, I feel that the aftermarket for this car is super affordable, easy to get. There's a ton of huge websites out there that sells a ton of parts for this car, and like I said, you could go on forums online, on Google, and just search something up, and people are selling stuff all the time for these cars. People are always giving advice, always helping you out. So I think the Mini community is something good to get into if you're looking for like your first car that's pretty tunable, pretty enough to change whatever you want. I think these cars are super well when it comes to that, and I would definitely recommend it if you're looking for a car that you want to go and modify, you want to go and tune, you want to go and change things. If that's what you're into, I think a Mini is a really good starting point to be able to do all of that. So yeah, guys, I'm going to finish up the video in here in my house. So yeah, those were the 5 things that I love about my 2012 R56 Mini Cooper S, and what I love, about Minis in general. I think they're great cars. There's a lot to love about them. There's a huge, like I said, there's a huge community of these car enthusiasts that absolutely love these cars. I definitely think it's worth getting one. But as opposed to that, there are some things that I don't like about the car. And soon I'm going to be making a video on the 5 things that I hate about my Mini Cooper S, and Minis in general, what I don't like about them. So stay tuned for that, and thank you guys for watching.